Hi there, my name's Dave Holmes. Welcome back to cyclingphysio.com. I just finished washing my bike, and I figured now's as good a time as any to give you a review on how it felt riding this Focus bicycle through the 2011 race season. This bike is the Focus izalco Pro 1.0. It is the top of the line bike within the Pro frame. There is one frame set above this, and that is the izalco team frame. The difference being the team has got internal cable routing all the way, where this one, the rear derailleur cable, comes out at the bottom bracket. And I think the team frame is a tiny bit lighter than this one as well. But this is the bike that Milram rode in the, well, the frame anyway, that the Milram team rode in the 2010 Tour de France. So it's certainly a top of the line unit. It comes decked out with Dura Ace, except for the crank, which is an aftermarket FSA crank, so that looks nice and sweet. The wheels that normally are on it are Mavic Syria McKeeps, but these are the training wheels. I've got the power tap and a nice 36 spoke front wheel on there for the training rides. And the handlebars and the seat post are looked after, I guess, by 3T with the alloy stuff. Now, that's an interesting sort of segue into the philosophy, I think, behind this bike. It's got aluminum handlebars, aluminum stem, and aluminum seat post. It's a race bike. This is basically designed for the serious racer, not just the enthusiast. So if you look on the handlebars of most pro machines, you're not going to see an ultralight carbon fiber bar, because race bikes, they have to be laid down every once in a while. And I think that sort of philosophy goes even into the frame. This is not the lightest frame on the market, but what it is a very strong frame and a very incredibly stiff frame. And again, it's not designed for Sunday club rides. This is designed to be raced, and raced hard. It's been a great time racing this through the season, mainly because of what I was talking about before, the stiffness. This is a very, very stiff frame, and they accomplish that through this just exceptionally large bottom bracket. I'm going to just walk it forward so you can see. It's gigantic, and you don't really get a sense of it until you actually pick one up and look at it. And that is sort of the heart and soul of this machine. It wastes absolutely no energy. It jumps forward as soon as you put any power through it. Now, with such a large down tube and large bottom bracket, we've got to take care of a ride that would otherwise come across as being very stiff. And they do that in two ways. The top tube is fairly large at the headset to maintain stiffness and steering, and then it gets quite narrow as we get towards the seat tube, and quite small in diameter, which is going to allow for more flex. As well, the seat tube, or the seat stays, pardon me, are flattened to act more as a leaf spring, and they're quite small, where the chain stays, again, to maintain that stiffness, are oversized. So how does it ride? Well, you know, I was a bit spoiled coming onto this bike, because the bike I had before this was titanium. So my perspective is, I came from a bike that probably had the most road comfort available onto this ultra stiff carbon fiber racer, and I was pleasantly surprised. No, it's not a titanium bike. It doesn't handle the vibrations of the road the way that titanium does, but by the same token, it's not a titanium bike. You can sprint this thing without flexing the frame. One of the main things I enjoyed was high-speed descending. I had this thing in the mountains a few times, actually just yesterday as well, and I was north of 70 kilometers an hour a couple of times, and it is absolutely rock solid and stable, not a hint of a speed wobble. And it actually is always a bit surprising to check your speedometer on this bike, because when you're going downhill, it doesn't feel like you're going as fast as you're actually going. One of the stories I can think of during the year was the Tunnel Mountain Road Race at the Banff Bike Fest, and it was a wet course, and it had a very fast winding descent on wet roads, and I was able to consistently make up 2 or 3 spots on the road during that descent, because I was just so confident coming downhill on this bike. It definitely is what you would say is a neutral handling bike. If you read other online reviews about it, you'll hear sort of the same things. There's nothing really out of the ordinary with this bike's handling, and that makes it sound plain, and it's not plain. What you get is a bike that you don't really have to think about. It just does exactly what it should do. It doesn't have any handling traits that you have to keep in the back of your mind. In cornering, when you lean it into a corner, it doesn't really do much. You lean the bike over, and I've found some bikes you lean it over and they kind of will oversteer quite quickly. With this bike, when you're in a hard corner, you can still actually adjust your line without losing balance, because it doesn't seem like the leaning aspect of it is what steers the bike nearly as much as the handlebars. And so where that comes in really handy is crit racing. This is an amazing crit racing bike because of A, the stability during the corners, but B, that stiffness as well. And when you're sprinting over and over and over again in a crit, you really don't waste much energy. I can think of it, one of the Tuesday night races this year where a car got onto the course right in the middle of the corner. As we came around, there was a car right there, and we were, people had to go everywhere, and I was able to actually, in the middle of a full throttle corner, change my line to get around the outside of the car and actually squeak between the car and the curb. And I think that's a testament to just how well this bike handles through the corners. A lot of people haven't heard of Focus. They may have heard of them and seen them on magazines, but certainly not seen them up close. I certainly got a lot of people coming up and asking me to check out the bike and have a look at it, because it was the first time they'd ever see one. They only ever see them under the Katusha riders or the Milram riders from the year before. And the company certainly has been around for a long time. And maybe we'll talk a little bit now about the Focus company itself. While Focus bikes might be new to North America, they have been in business in Europe since 1992. The company was founded by Mike Kluge, who is a multiple world champion in cyclocross and mountain bike racing. Their road bikes hit the big time in 2009 when they sponsored the German Milram team. This year it's been Joaquim Rodriguez and the Katusha team aboard the new Izalco team model. The company motto is "From Pros for Pros," and their aim is to produce perfect bicycles from their German-based design and manufacturing facilities. Here in Calgary, they are only available through Speed Theory, and they have a large selection of the 2011 lineup, so if you're in the market for a new bike, check one out. I know I've enjoyed my perfect machine,